Hello everyone, this is Sandy Chen and the co-host Vedia. We are both from the Unicorn Tribe Toastmaster. Welcome to the Unicorn Podcast. Have you ever thought about improving your public speaking skills, leadership skills, networking, and more? Here at Unicorn Tribe Toastmaster will be your best place to start. Unicorn Tribe Toastmasters was founded in September 2019, which is still a very young club. Today, it is our honor to invite one of the founders of this club, Doreen Chan-Ying, to speak at our very first episode. She's an IT professional and she has been in the Toastmasters for 4 years. She is currently a member of our club. Today, we will talk about her experience of establishing a club and her personal growth through Toastmasters. Are you ready? Let's welcome Doreen Chan-Ying.
Thank you so much for welcoming me.
Thank you, Doreen, to join us, and it's our honor to have you today. Doreen, I'm actually curious that what made you become one of the founding members of our club?
So it all started, my club, I was part of Richdale Toastmasters. That was my previous club. And we have speech contests that happen every spring. And we needed to find a test speaker. And what a test speaker is, it's you get someone from another club usually to come into your club to give a 5 to 7 minute speech. And then the contestants at our club would listen to their speech and then give an evaluation for them. And then they would be judged on their evaluation speech. And so I was looking for a test speaker for our contest. I didn't know too many clubs outside of our own, but I knew of one of the clubs in Richmond called Spotlight Speakers. Spotlight Speakers, one of the members there is Margaret Page. And so I sent out an email to Margaret asking her if she knew of anyone who could come into our club to be a test speaker. And she recommended Dorothy. And so this is the first time I got to meet Dorothy. I had seen Dorothy at actually club officer training. She had been a pathways guide, but I've never actually interacted with her before. And so she was our test speaker at our club. At the same time, I was actually a contestant for the international speech contest at my club. So Dorothy got to see me speak. After our contest, she approached me and she was, saying that she really liked my speech. And she was actually at the time also organizing the district conference. District conference happens every April. She was a conference chair and she was looking for some people to help her and be part of her team. So I ended up joining her on organizing the conference. And so we got to know each other really well. She was actually helping me with my speech. I ended up competing all the way to the district level. So Dorothy was helping me throughout the whole time. And I was helping with organizing the conference. And then after the conference, Dorothy mentioned that, I'm working on creating this new club in Richmond. Would you like to join us in creating this new club? And I thought, wow, that's a really exciting opportunity. And so I jumped on it.
Wow, that's actually kind of the destiny. Like you meet each other like this, and then finally we create a club at here. And how about other members, club members? Like you first start from Margaret Page and then Dorothy. And how about other will be because maybe Dorothy know other as well?
Yeah, so with the other founding members, I think it started with Dorothy, Margaret, and Tom at first. Then they brought me in. Later on, Tom brought in Yu Nakajima. So I think Tom and Yu Nakajima knew each other from their club that they were both at together. Then Tom knows Jenny, of course. And so Jenny was brought on later on. So the 5 of us, we worked together to organize and set up the club. And then we had our our initial meeting in September 11th, 2019. That's how we slowly started gaining more members. Yourself, Sandy, you know, Jenny invited a lot of members from her company to come in. And
Yes, exactly.
history.
Yeah. And what about the name? How does Unicorn Tribe come from?
So maybe Tom and Margaret would have a better background story for you, but from what I remember, we were at Margaret's home discussing the name for our club. And Tom and Margaret actually had a previous conversation about this, and they wanted to use the word unicorn in the name. They were saying that, you know, the word unicorn, it's something that's mythical, unique, something that doesn't exist. And they sort of wanted to tie it to the idea of a really special club, a club that followed things by the book, by the Toastmasters guidelines, that was just the perfect club in our eyes, and something that doesn't exist, but we were going to create it. And so they wanted to use the word unicorn. And then we were trying to add another word to it. And I think we came up with the word tribe, because the idea was a tribe is a group of people who really care about each other, almost like a family. As you know, in our manifesto, we always say we never leave any member behind. And yeah, that's really true in our club. We always care about every member. And so that word tribe really embodies that sentiment. We were kind of going back and forth between unicorn tribe and tribe unicorn. And so we came down to a vote and we chose unicorn tribe in the end.
Wow, that's really interesting to come up with this unique name, because I think it's also fit with our club quality and the member as well. So it's really interesting. Like, I'm not sure if in the future, if I'm going to, or Victoria is going to establish a club, how are you able to come up with the name like this, right? And while you are like establishing the club, like what is the most challenging part while establishing a club?
A couple things. I think so. One of the most challenging things, we were trying to look for a location. We were focused in on the city of Richmond. And so we were sort of just limited to that geographic area. But we also had some criteria that we wanted to adhere to. We wanted to have a space that felt like a business space, that felt professional, and felt, yeah, just felt like very professional, that because that was the vibe we were trying to go for Unicorn Tribe. So we were looking at places like hotels, we were looking at, well, work share places. We looked at a couple different areas, but it was pretty difficult because we were trying to look for a space that would accommodate 30 to 40 people, because that was the amount of people we were anticipating our club to grow to. And then we also had to think about the cost. So there was a lot of things that goes into it. We had to make sure it was within our budget, that it had all these criteria. We wanted to have a monitor. So we ended up with the Richmond Oval.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it had a monitor, but it was like a large enough space. And we also felt that with the Oval, there was a lot of traffic too, a lot of foot traffic. So we were hoping that, you know, people who went to the Oval for the gym or for what other activities there might also be attracted to come to the club. But it was a long process. It was several months, and I think I called 20 different places to ask information to find a venue for our club. But in the end, we found one. So that's how we ended up with Oval.
Yeah, I think that is a quite challenging part, because I know like when we were at Oval, the cost of the rent is quite expensive. And then if it is expensive, then the club member will think about like whether they want to join or not. And yeah, I agree with this challenging part. And after the pandemic, if we are going back to the physical club meeting, then we might need to find a new place as well. So it's definitely a challenging part for establishing the club.
Certainly.
Yeah. Since you are like vice president of public relations, since September 2019 help our club to gain so many guests, and even some of them were finally became a member. What is your experience of being a VP of Public Relations, and what have you learned the most?
Being a VP of public relations has been an interesting experience for me because I didn't have any experience with communications, public relations, or marketing at all. So it was all pretty much self-taught, or I borrowed some ideas from other VP PRs that I had worked with in the past. And the challenging thing for me was we had so many different social media platforms. We were using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and meetup.com. And so it was interesting being able to kind of figure out how each of the different platforms work. They all are similar and different in their different ways. And so it was a learning experience trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to promote our club on each of these different platforms. So for me, actually, I found that it was a fun experience. I really enjoyed crafting a strategy for the week. I would try to do a different kind of post throughout the week. We would announce the meeting things twice a week. Sometimes I would post testimonials or articles from Toastmasters, and just something to attract more attention to our club. So that whole experience of being able to develop a marketing strategy and using the different tools has been a huge learning experience for me that I'm happy to take forward.
Have you ever dealt with like marketing before? Because, for example, if I know I like to use social media such as Instagram or Facebook, but if it will be me to do this kind of job, I'm not sure if I can well perform or well attract people to in our social media, because I have some guests. They told me that, wow, your Instagram is really, really good. And then I know it was done by you, and I'm really curious like how you made it so attractive to people, because I don't think I can do that to attract people. What is your strategy?
My strategy is I paid attention to what people were responding to. So I tried to make sure I was using eye-catching images, and then I would kind of pay attention to how many likes are we getting on each image, and kind of get an idea of what was attracting people's attention. I would also do things like we have Toastmasters clubs all around the world, and so using our Unicorn Tribe Instagram account, I would actually go and follow every club that I could find in the world that was a Toastmasters club. And then I would even, try to interact with them. I would comment on their posts, like their posts. And so by making that interaction, then it drew attention to our page too.
You really did a great job. I really like how you made it on social media. I'm really impressed about it. Yeah. If there is a new VP of public relation, what would you advise that new person?
So I actually, this week, I did a knowledge transfer to our incoming VP of Public Relations, Julia, and I advised her to take it slow, because there's a lot of things there's a lot of moving parts. Like I said, we have 5 different platforms that we're using. So it takes time to sort of learn how each one works. There are tools you can use to make things a little bit easier. I had been using a tool called Hootsuite, which is a social media manager, and you can use that to schedule your social media posts across several platforms at once in advance. So if I knew I was going to be, busy in a few weeks, I would try to schedule all the posts a month or 2 in advance. Hootsuite, actually, they changed their free version, so it's a little bit more limited now. So there's other ones too out there. There's one called buffer.com and another one called later.com. So lots of tools out there that can help you with managing social media.
Yeah, that's really knowledgeable, and then it's really good to share with people who would like to do their better job in the VP of public relationship in their club. And I'm pretty sure during our club officer training, there are a lot of people really want to know like how the club can be better on their social media. So I would like to pass it to our co-host, Victoria, and would like to ask you some more personal questions. Victoria.
Hi everybody, this is Victoria Vedia, also from Unicorn Tribe. I'm so pleasant of being here helping Sandy with the first episode and also interviewing Doreen. In Unicorn Tribe, we are always really happy to get to know a little bit more about our members. So we have prepared some questions in order to get to know you better. Everybody is really caring about their family. So we would like to know what makes you the most proud of your family.
That's a great question. I'm actually really close with my family. I have my parents and I have three siblings. I'm the oldest of four children. I have my family living fairly close to me in Vancouver, and I would say we're pretty close. We enjoy spending a lot of time together. We every month we find something to celebrate. We're celebrating someone's birthday, we're celebrating holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, like any little thing, people's wedding anniversaries. But we also just like spending time with each other. So we go, okay, we want to watch a movie on Netflix together or on Disney Plus. So we'll choose a movie and then we'll all meet up at my parents' house to gather, and we'll eat food and watch the movie. And another tradition of ours is that for every special event, like a birthday or holiday, we always, after dinner, we take a family photo together, which which is actually a really nice thing to do, because I realize we have all these history of photos to look back on and see how we grow and change throughout the years.
Wow, that's great. That's really great. In addition of spending a day with your family, is there something else that you would like to do when you have a day off? What is your favorite way of spending a day off?
My favorite way to spend the day off, because my day job is I work in IT and I'm spending a lot of time in front of my computer. I really enjoy being able to get outside into nature. Actually, my previous field that I studied in university was natural resources conservation. And so it's something I really miss. And so whenever I get the opportunity to go outside and the weather is good, I like to choose a nature trail or go hiking just to enjoy being outside and being in the greenery and doing some bird watching and just enjoying the fresh air.
That's lovely. And in Vancouver is the perfect location for going outside in the nature. I really love it here. If you would be able to meet your younger self, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
That's a really good question. For my younger self, I felt like I worried a lot about my future. I worried about what my career would look like. And yeah, actually, mostly about my career. I really worried about what my career would look like, whether I would be successful in my career. Because I had a career change. I studied in university. I studied resources conservation, and then I switched to IT, which is a totally different field. And so I spent a lot of time just thinking a lot about, is this, what's the right career to pursue, and just worrying about whether whether I was making the right choice. But I think just reflecting back on it, um, it's it's not something that, you know, that needs to be worried so much about. I would say just choose whatever you feel like choosing in the moment, and that's the path you'll go down. In the end, you'll end up, if you change again, that's fine. You'll end up in the place where where you're meant to be. So it's not like you'll take a path and you're stuck. You can always veer into the next direction.
That is a really inspiring advice. I think that most of the people have felt when they are young kind of stressed with the time or with the path to choose.
Yes. Yeah. And it is something that I think a lot of people, young people, think about. But I think everything works out in the end.
Doreen, if you know, in the movies or in the cartoons, the main character there is always is going navigating the life with a sidekick character.
Hmm.
You will be able to pick a sidekick character for navigate life by yourself, by your side. Who will be the character?
Okay. Who would be my sidekick character? I feel like I always go for this answer, but I would choose my cat. Just because my cat, so I have three cats, but my favorite cat is our cat Loki, because he's so affectionate. He always talks to me every time I, enter the room. He's like greeting me, or he'll just randomly come up to me in the middle of the day to say hello. So he's just the most affectionate cat, and I would just want to carry him around everywhere as my sidekick, just to provide comfort for me, because he's just I feel more comforted when he's around me. I need cuddly too.
Have you ever brought him or her out home, like walking around the street?
I've tried to do it with all my cats. We got one of those leashes for cats, but all of them hate it. Once I put the leash on, they're not used to it, and they just sit there and they don't move.
Oh,
Tried, and it doesn't work. A few times I would just maybe hold them and walk outside my door, just a few steps outside my door, and they hate it. So
yeah,
they're
yeah,
true door cats.
yeah. I think Jenny tried in the beginning as well, and then like her cat doesn't like to walk as well. But I think as many times as she brought him out, he's willing to walk right now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So she's actually planning to bring him to maybe like kayak or standing paddle, like put the cat on the paddle one day. That's her plan.
That would be so fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so difficult to be able to place the cat in the stand-up paddle.
Yeah,
Oh, but the cat freaking out.
maybe. So maybe I think Jenny will try one day. We'll see how it works.
Doreen, if you will be able to pick a superpower, what would be your superpower as a superhero?
If I were a superhero, the power I would choose is the the ability to absorb knowledge by touching a book. So because I enjoy reading, but I always feel like I don't have enough time to read. So the perfect thing would be able to just walk into a library and then touch the books on a shelf and just in 1 second absorb all of the knowledge from the books. And then I would just use the knowledge from what I learned in the books to, solve big problems in the world. That would be my superpower.
I wish I had that power as well.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that would be awesome, right? Just touching the books and all the information in the brain.
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
love it.
Wow, that's very excited to hear from you and your experience and the personal growth in Toastmasters. Thank you so much, Victoria, with your questions, and thank you so much, Doreen, for taking your time today. Here, I have one more last question. I believe most of the audience would like to hear from you as well. How does the Toastmaster Club impact your personal life and your growth?
For so I originally joined Toastmasters because I was a really shy person. I'm still a fairly shy person, but I was lacking that confidence to speak out at work or to speak out in certain social situations. And so that's the reason I joined Toastmasters, to gain that confidence to speak out. So over the 4 years, just through doing speeches, but also through doing different leadership activities like different club officer roles or different projects in Toastmasters, I've gained that confidence that I've pushed myself to lead projects or to give a speech in front of a room of people, and I survived. And from those experiences, it's given me that confidence, so that I can take away that confidence and bring it into other parts of my life. So in my workplace, it's definitely been a huge help, because in the past I'll be just fully scared to even say a word in a work meeting, especially in IT, being a minority, being it's quite male dominated in IT, and so being able to speak up has been hard in the past. But through Toastmasters, it's definitely given me that confidence to be able to find my voice and speak up.
Yes, I can understand and then relate it to you since I first joined the Toastmaster. And actually, I haven't told you before, Doreen, to you. Like in the beginning, I remember when I joined Toastmaster at Oval, when we had the physical meeting, I was actually very impressed by your speech that I first seen. I remember the time you were delivering a speech in front of us, and I was very impressed and shocked when I think at that time you maybe a little bit forget about what you're going to say. But usually for a normal person who forgets what to say, they will have a lot of ums. But at that time, you were so calm. You were just standing there. And then I was like, oh my God, this is so calm. How am I able to do that? Actually, I always recall back to this memory that when I first seen your speech that I didn't mention to you before, but I mentioned to other members that when I first saw Doreen's first speech, I was so impressed by her like being so calm. So I was like, you were actually one of my model to not say a lot of ums and ahs if I forget what I'm going to say during my speech. So that is actually quite a lot of like learning experience. Like first, when I see a lot of member how they deliver speeches, and then I learn how people do that. And we are growing and also growing from Victoria, even though Victoria is our newer member, but her speech skills is like what I'm also impressed as well. So we are all learning from each other, right, Victoria?
I totally agree. I was really impressed also the first time that I listened to Doreen when she was giving her speech about leadership and herself.
Yeah.
It was really impressive how well she was conveying the ideas and how she used her hands, and I really like it.
Yes,
Oh,
body language is also very important too.
thank you.
Yeah.
Sweet of you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Doreen, for spending this valuable time with us today. I really enjoy listening to your experience today, and I'm pretty sure Victoria also enjoyed today's interview with you.
It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for interviewing me today.
Thank you. It's our first podcast. Yay. Today, it was our pleasure to interview our very first guest, Doreen Chan-Ying, at our Unicorn podcast. We talk about her experience of establishing this club, how she met with other founder members, and some challenges of finding a location for our club. Although there were some obstacles for her while establishing this club, I can still feel the sweet spot she enjoyed it. She also shared about her experience of being an outstanding vice president of public relationship in our club and some advice to upcoming VP of public relationship. We also chat about some of her personal sweet story at the second half part, and at the end she shared how Toastmasters impact on her life. It is always very exciting to hear people sharing how they grow with Toastmasters. Everyone has their own purpose and story to join the Toastmaster Club. Were you inspired by Doreen's story today? Are you ready to become the next leader or a great public speaker? Unicorn Tribe Toastmaster welcome everyone to visit and join our club. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Meetup, or LinkedIn to contact us for more details. Next month, our guest is also one of our club founders and our former club president, Tom Jones. Are you excited about it? See you next time.